Well, good morning, Charleston. Oh, we got to do this again. Good morning, Charleston. Ah, that's wonderful. Well, I'm very pleased to be here. My name is Steve Goodall, and I'll be moderating this morning's fast pitch competition. Before we get to the competition itself, I want to quickly share with you the story of how we got to this particular point. It all started back in April of this year when I got a call from Katina Strauch. I assume either you know Katina or you know of Katina. She is the founder of the Charleston Conference, publisher of Against the Grain, and many other things. And she indicated that she and Ann Ougarson were chatting, and they had this crazy idea that they wanted to share with me. For those of you who may not know Ann, she has been a longtime contributor to the Charleston Conference and is senior advisor to the Center for Research Libraries. With all of the challenges in the library industry, there must be a way, they thought, to quickly and effectively bring new, good ideas to light so that these ideas can further be developed and ultimately implemented. How could the Charleston Conference shine a light on library innovation and showcase interesting and entrepreneurial solutions? So Katina and Ann asked me, what do you think of this idea? Well, to be honest, I had to pause for a moment. My background is not in the field of library management. I have spent over 30 years of my career in the field of market research, working for a company called J.D. Power & Associates. At this company, I served as president and CEO for 12 years before retiring. J.D. Power is probably best known for its automobile ratings and customer satisfaction measurement around the world. More recently, I have begun to focus on the broader issues of information management and innovation. I have partnered with and joined Anthea Stratigos' board of directors at Outsell, Inc., and as well as sponsored a research project on library publishing written by Ann Ougarson and Alex Holtzman. As Katina and Ann and I talked about what we could do to showcase innovation at the Charleston Conference, we struck upon the idea of putting together a fast pitch competition, a process where people could share interesting ideas that address specific challenges facing academic libraries. We thought that a friendly yet competitive environment could bring out the best ideas and that this thinking could be showcased and recognized for everyone's benefit. In thinking about putting together the fast pitch competition, we knew we were not unique. The buzz about entrepreneurism, startups, seems to be growing across the nation and popularized by TV shows such as Shark Tank. My guess is several of you at academic institutions are currently offering a fast pitch competition or will be offering some form of fast pitch competition in the future. Katina, Ann, and I saw no reason why we shouldn't try to apply this idea in the world of academic libraries. So, how did we get from a short telephone conversation to this competition today? First, we needed to create an incentive for people to want to participate. We knew there would be an opportunity to get recognition at the Charleston Conference, but we also knew we needed some type of financial incentive. My wife, Jane, and I have a very small family foundation that was happy to at least get things kick-started. The Goodall Foundation is contributing $2,600 apiece for 2 awards. One award based on our panel of experts, and a second award based on you, the audience. The second thing we did was to create a relatively detailed application that required applicants to describe their idea and to register their interest in participating. Third, we launched a communication campaign. Starting back in July of this year, the Charleston Conference posted a description of the fast pitch competition and had a link to the application on their website. And sent out several email messages inviting people to share their ideas. Fourth, a selection committee was formed to review all of the applications that were submitted. The committee decided on 4 who you will see present here today. We received many excellent applications, and it proved hard to narrow the field. There were 12 applications that were not selected to be finalists. However, their innovative ideas, the committee felt, deserved honorable mention. And you'll see here behind me this list of institutions that we feel deserve that recognition. Finally, a panel of experts was recruited to judge all 4 presentations and to ask questions of the finalists to provide everyone with a better understanding of each idea. Our panel of experts consists of 3 very notable people. First is Martha Whittaker. Martha is Institutional Sales Manager at American Society for Microbiology in Washington, D.C. Anne joined ASM in 2013 and has held her current position since February of 2016. Prior to that, she was Director of Content Management at George Washington University's Gelman Library. Martha has held management positions at Blackwell Book Services, ProQuest, Knight Ridder, and the Uncover Company. She has degrees from the University of Utah and Denver University and a certificate of advanced study from the Haas School of Business at the University of California in Berkeley. Her interests include electronic publishing, open access business models, and library collection development. Our second distinguished judge is James O'Neill. Jim is the University Librarian at Arizona State University Libraries. He has published widely on the history and culture of late antique Mediterranean world and is the author of several well-respected books on St. Augustine and on the issues facing libraries today and in the future. Jim is also a recognized innovator in the application of network information technology in higher education, having created one of the first online scholarly journals and one of the first MOOCs. Our third distinguished judge is Anthea Stratigos. Anthea is co-founder and CEO of Outsell, Inc., a leading research and advisory firm focusing exclusively on media, information, and technology. Outsell's analysis and research is read by thousands of information and publishing executives on a daily basis. Anthea and her team at Outsell have a true finger on the pulse of what is driving change relative to information creation, distribution, and consumption. Anthea serves as counsel to many industry CEOs and is an expert in market-driven strategy, product development, and trend identification. In addition to leading Outsell, Anthea serves on the board of directors of Innodata Inc. and is a former board member of American Business Media. So, how will this morning's competition work? Well, first, each of our 4 panelists will be given 4 minutes to make their presentations. Second, in the order of the presenters was determined randomly before this session started. Third, at the conclusion of the presentation, we will allow our panel of experts a few minutes to ask each presenter questions. Once we have heard from all 4 presenters, our judges will convene off stage and make their collective decision. As the judges are convening, it will be your turn to vote on the presenter you feel is most deserving of an award. So be sure to carefully listen to each presentation and don't leave after the judges sequester themselves. And take notes if you feel it's appropriate, because your vote in this manner really does count. Don't worry, at the conclusion of all 4 presentations, we will provide you with simple instructions on using your cell phone to register your vote. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our very first presenter. It is Katy DiVittorio. She is Acquisitions Librarian at Auraria Library, serving the University of Colorado, Denver, the Metropolitan State University and Community College of Denver. Please welcome to the podium, Katy.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Steve. As you said, my name is Katy DiVittorio, and I'm the Acquisitions Librarian at the Auraria Library in Denver, Colorado. Auraria is unique in that it serves 3 separate academic institutions with 1 physical library. And I'm here today to pitch you the RelaxMap. At the heart of my library's institution is supporting student academic success. According to the 2015 American College Health Association survey, a third of students reported that stress had affected their academic performance. This could be a lower grade on an exam, in a course, or even dropping out of class. Traditionally, we've seen libraries tackling student stress by offering study breaks with free food or games. We've seen therapy animals brought into the library. Most recently, I've been seeing stationary bikes and treadmills, and I've even seen some nap pods. So Auraria would like to take the unique approach of creating a map of places on campus that are considered low stress using biomapping. So we plan to recruit volunteers to walk designated routes on campus. This is an example of one of the routes they could walk wearing an in-house custom design device that includes a microcontroller, a galvanic skin response sensor that measures stress, and a GPS. In addition, we'll have our volunteers journaling, so we can look for factors that affect stress that may not be related to the environment they're in. Perhaps they run into a professor on campus, and that causes their stress levels to spike rather than their environment. So we're going to take this data, correlate it, and visualize it into a map that shows low stress areas. The map will be distributed. We'll have physical copies in the library. We'll put it on our library's website, and we'll also display it on our large screen discovery wall within the library. So this is a map of our campus with examples of what stress could look like. We have not conducted this study yet, so this is some fake data. So the different colors represent different volunteers, and the higher lines represent high stress areas, and the lower lines are low stress areas. So in order to evaluate the success of this, we will be conducting focus groups. We'll do surveys, we'll look at usage stats, but really we're looking for stories like this. Imagine Megan. She's a first-year student on campus. She's getting to know her way around, and she has 3 exams next week. She is stressed. She comes into the library to check out materials, and we can tell she's stressed. This is the perfect opportunity for us to give Megan a copy of this map, or perhaps show her it on the website, so that when she goes home, she can stop at one of these low-stress areas on campus and just take 15 minutes to de-stress. And then next week, she rocks her exams. So this is just a piece of the puzzle of helping her rock her exams. So we believe this has scaling opportunities. If this does prove successful, we could do this just within our library to see if there are stress pain points that could influence future renovation or design, or even looking at possibly services, how truly stressful is asking a reference or research question. We will make available a step-by-step online toolkit for other libraries that want to create their own RelaxMaps. And I'm here today asking for this money so we can purchase the equipment that we need and recruit volunteers. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer the judges' questions.
Okay, judges.
Okay. Is this good? Okay. I love the RelaxMap idea. It's great. I'm wondering if you'd come to Washington, D.C. and do a RelaxMap for me, because I could definitely use this. It's a great idea. And my question is, as a good Shark Tank type judge would be, is Is it a little gimmicky? I'm a little worried that people might do it once and then go, oh, that was fun. What's your plan for sustainability? And if you get the money, what do you plan to introduce this idea other places, or do you have enhancements in mind? Or what's going to make my investment, our investment here, pay off?
So we do plan on mapping over time, and we could do it in other locations. So I mentioned that we might want to do it within the library, but perhaps there's actually other departments on campus that also want to use this, and other libraries across the country may want to do this. So I believe there are other opportunities for growth. One of the other things that we had looked at is, in addition to using the technology that includes the GSR, is maybe taking a step further and looking also at the heart rate monitor and take that into consideration. So there is different areas for growth, whether you're looking at the technology itself or where we're using the technology.
Next, Jed.
Have you had any conversations with campus architects, facilities, student affairs people about ways they might change the shape of the campus or the facilities in response to what you learned to create more stress-free spaces?
So we haven't had formal conversations with other departments on campus other than the psychology department, who has expressed interest in also working with this in the future. I know since the library is doing this, we have more power over making change within our library, and we can share that information with other departments, because I think it does provide some data that other departments could use to influence design, but no, we haven't actually had any formal conversations yet.
And how are you thinking of funding it longer term if it's successful? Where do you see the sustainability coming from financially?
That's a good question. Because as many libraries are here, we are in a tight budget year. We have a flat budget, and Colorado, where my library is located, is 48th in the country for public higher institution funding. When you look at other libraries, ACRL peer libraries for us, we do spend less than the average per student because of our funding. So what we're doing is we're looking for innovative ways like this contest. So I think if we're going to advocate for more budget in the future, but if we don't get it, I think we'll have to look for grants and other opportunities.
That's great. Let's give Katy a nice round of applause. Our next finalist is Charles Watkinson, Associate University Librarian at the University of Michigan Libraries, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Charles.
Fulcrum is a new online platform designed by university presses and libraries to publish media-rich scholarship. Our mission is to make digital publishing safe for humanists. Our core values are discoverability, flexibility, and durability. Since 2015, University of Michigan Library has been working with colleagues at leading research universities to design the platform. Fulcrum will host Lever Press, supported by 50 liberal arts colleges, and the ACLS Humanities ebook collection. We're using the Hydra Fedora open source software framework employed by many libraries to build repository tools, and our work is funded by a generous 3-year grant from the Mellon Foundation. Finally, we're partnering with Lyrasis to create a sustainability plan which will include a hosted version. So what problem is Fulcrum trying to solve? The problem is that all our authors are digital scholars, but they lack the tools to publish their work. The minute a professor picks up a digital camera, she starts accumulating a rich electronic archive of visual materials. She may also create audio, video, 3D models, and numerical data sets. You can see 3 authors we're currently working with here. But current digital platforms do not meet the needs of the digital scholar. A digital humanities platform like Scalar won't be discoverable through the information supply chain. A commodity ebook platform like Atapon is built around the traditional conception of the book and lacks flexibility. Meanwhile, WordPress and other DIY options have no preservation plan for complex files. So this screenshot shows how Fulcrum makes rich media objects discoverable, flexible, and durable. Our initial focus is on companion websites richly integrated with monographs, but in 2017 we'll start presenting complete publications, both narrative and associated data. Fulcrum is discoverable. Every image has a stable identifier. We're working with supply chain partners to make sure these objects are indexed. Fulcrum is flexible. We've repurposed a viewer originally built to zoom in on maps, and like all of Fulcrum, it's accessible to readers with disabilities. And Fulcrum fundamentally is durable. We display rich metadata to make sure that this object can be migrated forward and use Michigan Library's world-beating preservation infrastructure. Of course, Fulcrum is not just for images. We're already delivering film and audio and will soon support 3D visualizations. So how do we measure success? By late 2018, we will have at least 15 service arrangements in place with libraries and publishers who share our vision. By 2019, we will support over 50 digitally enriched publications, and by 2020, at least 100 libraries will be reusing open source code which we have contributed back to the community. To accomplish these goals, we need your input. Please sign up for updates on fulcrum.org or follow us on Twitter. And if you choose us, your award of $2,500, $2,600 pays for a booth at ACRL in Baltimore, where we can continue and broaden our market research to serve every type of institution. We are Fulcrum. Thank you for your attention. Sharks.
All right, judges.
I'll go first again. Okay. I was going to ask you about your marketing plan, but I think you just covered that in your last sentence. So that's good. $2,500 is a lofty amount, but it doesn't go that far. But anyway, I'll get on to my next question. My inner librarian is coming out here. You say that Fulcrum will help make things fully discoverable in library catalogs. As a representative of publisher myself, I know how hard it is to make things discoverable if you're not a major commercial publisher. I could go on and on about that, but I'll ask you, what do you mean by that, and how are you going to accomplish that?
Thank you. Yes. University of Michigan Press is an integral part of University of Michigan Library. So we, as University of Michigan Press, have the supply chain relationships that we will use to feed out Fulcrum content as we do our own books. This is a major, and perhaps the major example of how presses, university presses and libraries are extremely complementary partners.
I'm a mild-mannered, insignificant assistant professor, and I'm worried. If I do this with you, am I going to get tenure?
Fulcrum is not an either-or solution. One of the reasons we concentrated on companion websites to start off with, and will continue to provide this service, is that we believe that you can have a monograph and that you can have a companion and media-rich website at the same time. In the longer term, we will continue to push promotion and tenure committees through initiatives such as the Lever Press to accept these as first-class objects, these digital publications.
How do you anticipate staying ahead of the competition, and if you're successful, preventing the larger companies that are better funded perhaps to mimic what you're doing and move ahead? How will you competitively sustain?
Fulcrum is a mission-related activity. Fulcrum is about making digital scholarship objects first class. We're an open source platform, and one measure of success I only touched upon is that other companies will adopt our software and that they will emulate us and therefore provide the safe environment that scholars need to publish digital scholarship. So that would be a measure of success.
Great. Let's give Charles a nice round of applause. Thank you, Charles. Our third finalist is Scott Warren. He is Associate Dean of Research and Scholarship at Syracuse University Libraries in Syracuse, New York. Scott.
Syracuse has a history of entrepreneurship centered in our strong professional schools. And of course, the libraries have always supported that. But now we're doing something new. We're working with the charitable arm of the Blackstone Group. We've secured a 3-year grant with our university librarian, David Seaman, as principal investigator. And what are we doing with that? Well, we're putting entrepreneurship inside the libraries. Literally, we've installed the LaunchPad. It's a meetup space in the middle of our main campus library with a director who comes to us from an economic development background. Now, make no mistake, the LaunchPad isn't just a tenant. No, it is part of the libraries. In fact, it is our physical service point to support student-focused entrepreneurial activity across the entire campus, not just one school or the other, the entire campus. After all, where better than a library to bring students together in one space so they can share ideas and help drive each other's success stories. Now, SU isn't the only place with a LaunchPad, and I'm going to show you the list of other schools in a minute, but we're one of the first ones, and we're really unusual in that we've put it inside a library. That was our first big win, making the case that the LaunchPad doesn't belong in a business school, doesn't belong in a student center. It belongs in a library. Because what can go on there? Well, we can tie it in a very deep, almost organic way to our existing services, our staff, and our collections. So what's been happening so far? Well, in the few short months it's been open, we've engaged with over 1,000 students. We have a variety of rich programming going on. They've received in-depth consultations and all the venture support they need to get their ideas up and running. As you can see here, most of the students aren't coming from a business background. They're all sorts of majors across campus. And in fact, you don't just have to take my word for it. Right here in the middle of the auditorium today, I have 2 students. Jordan on the left there, raise your hand, Jordan. Jordan receives services from the LaunchPad. You can talk to her afterwards and see if what the libraries has created with the LaunchPad and put there helped her. She's living and working in Charleston. Her startup jewelry company is already well on the road to success thanks to what we did for her. So what services and what need are we really trying to fill here? Well, as I said, just getting the LaunchPad inside the libraries is already the first step because we can pull students together. We know entrepreneurship is not confined to business schools. It succeeds best when you bring together diverse, multidisciplinary thinking. Our next step is to start tying up what goes there towards our collections. We're going to expose the students to even more diverse perspectives. We're going to put a collection inside the LaunchPad. We're going to tie what's in our DNA as librarians to our newest, most innovative service. We crowdsourced titles from across campus from faculty. We've got a really, really strong response. We have design thinking, ideation, data science, sociology. Bios of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk are going to sit alongside those of Isaac Newton and Ben Franklin. But good as that is, good as those books are, it's not really about the books themselves. What we think it's about, what we believe in, is the value of the conversations those titles start among the students, the genesis of ideas. This is collections driving a creative community in service of student outcomes. So we have seed funding from Blackstone, and then we received a personal gift from the Dean of the I School at Syracuse because she believes in this idea. The Dean of the I School herself at Syracuse has already bought into this concept. The Fast Pitch Prize here today would further validate the work we've embarked upon. Then what do? Well, we share it. Here's the list of other Blackstone schools. As you can see, it's an international effort. Most of them are in the United States, but a few are abroad. We're going to transfer what we learn to that network. And we want to learn from other schools doing this too, and even schools outside of the Blackstone network. We want to hear what you're doing to support student-focused entrepreneurship, and we're going to share all of the lessons we learn. We're making the case that the library is an integral part of student-centered entrepreneurial activity. What's our bottom line? We're learning how to drive student-focused entrepreneurship from inside the library, and in the process, we're growing our own capacity to innovate. That really excites me. It's all about student outcomes. I hope that excites you. It's why I'm here today seeking your support. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, judges.
Okay.
Somebody's
So,
got to have a question.
yes, you have a question. As this scales, are you envisioning that it becomes a national or international community that's linked and the efforts are continuously building, or is it isolated to each university? How are you going to connect it?
I don't think it's let me pull the mic over. I don't think it's an either-or proposition. I certainly hope it scales. We want to help define this, share it, and we do want to drive it at scale because we think entrepreneurship and student outcomes, we want to bring as many people together as possible, cross-pollinating ideas and sharing it. So we started at each of the individual places. They'll have, of course, an individual flavor that reflects their own unique university culture and vision, but of course we connect up then, and the network helps us do that.
When you speak of entrepreneurship, it's easy to think of it as commercial entrepreneurship. Every undergraduate in America now must form their own company before they graduate. I understand that.
And sell it to Google.
And sell it to Google. Exactly. That's why they're in graduate school. Are you thinking about pushing the boundaries of what constitutes entrepreneurship? Do you now do social entrepreneurship? Can you have ideas for working in other ways to get the spirit of entrepreneurship in activities that are of interest to students?
Jim, that's an excellent question, and the answer is yes, we're already thinking about that. Not every single one of the students that has come in there is starting a company. They are not all for profit. They are social ventures. They are nonprofits. They're thinking of ideas. They may not incorporate immediately. They may not get themselves chartered, but they're thinking about how do I take the idea I have and how do I meet other students who may be coming into that space or just take it from idea to make it a reality, no matter whether it's a for-profit or no matter whether it's a social venture. And there's no reason they can't be both a social venture and a for-profit.
That's good to know. I again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but I am interested in sustainability.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate getting continuing funding from Blackstone because you say this grant would go to collection building. Collection building isn't a one-time thing.
No.
I wonder how you would continue to support your collection and your resources after the $2,500 is spent.
We could contribute our own funds towards that. Of course, the money itself isn't the real win here. We want the money, of course, but it's the concept. We want the validation from the community. That's the most important part, being able to share the idea. We believe we can keep sustaining it. We want to sustain the entire LaunchPad concept. It's very, very early days, so we haven't worked out everything about it, but that's part of our own getting better at entrepreneurship. We're going to leap in. We have some plans for this, and then we're going to make it work and define what's going on in there and attract more supporters. But yes, we'll take on ownership of it if need be.
Great. Let's give Scott a nice round of applause. Our fourth and final, but last but not least, presenter is Kate Ross. She is head of technical services at St.John Fisher College in Rochester Hills, New York. Kate.
Good morning. If we each grow a large crop of different food, we could all trade with each other and eat for practically free. Whenever I see Facebook posts about community gardening, I start dreaming about how I can make this happen in my neighborhood. You may not get as excited as I do about this message, but I realized it's a great way to conceptualize our project. I'm pitching for something that our recently retired library director and resource sharing pioneer said offers a real game change in coordinated collection development potential. I'd like to tell you about a tool that enables librarians to communicate to coordinate a curriculum-based collection, shared among partners, while increasing opportunities for use. As acquisitions librarians, we often talk about our collection maintenance in gardening terms like growing the collection or weeding the collection. Consider this. If we were to put this concept of growing collections into practice in your community, it might sound like a good idea in theory, but how do you execute? How do you communicate and coordinate who's going to grow what? You might need to gather information about the differences in soil or light that each house has. Our tool takes this concept and applies it to print book purchase requests. In my role as acquisitions librarian, I use Iliad interlibrary loan software to facilitate our purchase on demand program for print materials. Over the years, I saw a need for a way to connect collection development with resource sharing for true coordinated collection development. The strength of a resource sharing network is only as good as the strength and diversity of our print collections. Collaborative collection development using real-time requests and data makes the most of shrinking budgets, and collaboration is the 21st century way of getting things done. This project taps into the power of shared print and collective collections while being thoughtful about what we add to our collections in the first place. You may be wondering why it's a big deal that we received the accolades of a resource sharing pioneer. This is a tool for acquisitions librarians that uses interlibrary loan data. A core group of libraries in New York State have partnered to utilize already existing collection and request data. We are using existing infrastructure in a novel way. We capture metrics that were not previously available packaged together. The project will continue development of a platform that analyzes real-time interlibrary loan requests, holdings, and collection building profiles from participating libraries, and communicates information between libraries in order to facilitate coordinated collection development. We strategically build collections as a group, notifying other libraries asynchronously when we are missing a chance to add something appropriate to the group's collection. That is, decide whether to buy and who should buy. One benefit to using the tool will be reduced duplication of print materials while developing networks for reciprocal borrowing and lending of the most appropriate resources for our respective collections. Print collection growth can be sustainable. Back in Central New York, we have a lot of interest in this project already. To date, we have several partners and the financial backing of 2 grants. We will get where we want to go, but your support will help us get further, faster. There's currently no platform that we are aware of that directly competes with the communication platform, but this tool is currently only available for use in ILLiad and IDS Information Delivery Services project libraries. We plan to move past that limitation in the future to work with other systems. Money awarded today would allow us to develop the technology independent of ILLiad software and IJS project data. We would further develop the API and workflows. With rapidly changing resource sharing systems, we want the technology to be flexible enough to encourage new participants and model how this can work in your region. Remember, print collections are still important, as the strength of our networks is the strength of the combined collections of its members. We invite you with your financial support to join us in building diverse regional collections for your patrons and each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
I understand the emphasis on books, and you mentioned print. While it might incite riot with some of the vendors, have you thought about moving to, or thinking about collections more broadly?
Yes. As I mentioned the word strategic in my pitch, we have lots of ideas about where we can move forward with this, but we're trying to be strategic and not take on too much, because the partners that we're working with are all folks of similar size, and we're small and we don't have large staff. So we're trying to be very strategic about how we move forward. We have, as I said, 2 grants. So one year we sort of laid some groundwork. This year we're working on the real-time capability. And in the future, we are looking, considering how we can expand the definition of collection.
In your written proposal, I was excited to see that you were interested in doing this with real-time data as nearly as possible. Right now you're working, it says, with data from a couple of years ago. Is that a temporary condition? Will you be able to get to more live data and be more responsive?
Actually, the library is both what has occurred in the past as well as real time. So when we look at a request that comes in, there are a lot of different, as I mentioned, metrics that are packaged together, including how many times has this book been requested before within our network. And the fact that we're even seeing this potential request is because it is an active request that someone's looking for right now. Does that answer your question?
Hi, Kate. This gives me an opportunity to use some buzzwords, which, everybody likes to do. What I like about this is you're using technology to inform data-driven decisions. Those are the buzzwords. But my concern is, I think this is a great idea and it's something we need. Resource sharing has been around for a really long time, even longer than I have been. And I'd like to paraphrase my friend and mentor, Rebecca Lanzini, who's in the audience, who used to say, maybe you still do, resource sharing is like carpooling. It's a really great idea for the other guy. How are you getting people to participate? What is your promotion and marketing plan once you develop and refine this wonderful software? How are you going to get people to participate?
That's a really good question. That has been one of the challenges. I think historically in New York State we have a vehicle for coordinated collection development, and some librarians that I've heard from or learned about, not that they're not willing to participate, but that is a challenge. So we have started by reaching out with people that we think that are receptive to the idea, and as we've had a chance to talk with people about, no, we're not being prescriptive and saying you must buy these materials, we're starting by suggesting that these are materials that if we had already owned, then we could have borrowed freely among ourselves. And we're hoping to use some momentum to bring more people on board. And we've already, as I mentioned, had a lot of interest in this project, whereas before in previous years when this has been talked about or attempted, that hasn't gone anywhere.
Great. Let's give Kate a nice round of applause. Thank you, Kate. All right. It's now decision time. We will dismiss our judges, let them go consents and come up with their decision. So if you'd like, go ahead and sequester yourselves. And while they are doing that task, each of you have a task. So get out your smartphones, and behind me should be some instructions. So some of you that may have participated in voting in the debate prior to this session, you may be still logged into the Polling Everywhere software. But if not, I want to have you walk through these particular steps, and we'll give you a few minutes to do this. So first of all, as the instructions say, go ahead and send a text message to the number listed above, 22333. And then you'll have to text in the message box place an indication of CHSCONF, so Charleston Conference, abbreviated for Charleston Conference. That'll make sure that your vote doesn't go someplace else, that your vote actually goes toward one of the four finalists today in our fast pitch competition. And then lastly, you will see all you have to do is type one letter, only one letter, for the finalist you feel is most deserving of your vote. We will tally those results and then determine a winner from you, the audience. We ask in you doing this, please be sure to vote only once. Let's be fair to all of the finalists, and please respect that request on our behalf. So we will give you a minute or two to do that. We'll let our judges confer, and we will come back and announce the winner or winners of today's fast pitch competition. I hope the technical people in the back heard that. The poll needs to be open. I always wonder about these technology things and whether they're going to work. They've tested it before, but I'll go back and make sure it's working. Is it work? It's not working for you guys? The lady that's running this indicates that on her end it's working, but she's working on Worst comes to worst, I'll just do a vote by hands. But let's give at least a minute or so for technology to do its thing. So just a second. Okay, it should be working now, so let the voting begin. Good. All right, we have some results.
Yay!
And we have some big checks to give out. So first, I would like to make the announcement of the winner of the Judges Award. And that goes to Scott Warren at Syracuse University Libraries. You can hold the whole one?
I can hold the whole thing? Okay.
Got to ask him if you can hold the whole one. I don't know if you can take that to your local ATM and deposit it or not, but I'll let you give it a try. Okay, what you've been waiting for is then the results of your voting from the audience. And the award for this year's Audience Award for the Fast Pitch goes to Kate Ross at St.John Fisher College. Well, we hope you enjoyed this competition and learned a few things with this. I want to thank both the judges for their participation and excellent questions, and I particularly want to thank all 4 of our finalists for their excellent presentations. We wish you all a great rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that worked fine.
Hopefully one of many.
Student in devious.
Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah, they weren't kidding when they did it.
About your project. Yeah, you could also come this afternoon if you want to hear more. Okay. Yeah. I'll do that. Great. Thank you.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, that was
Congratulations.
I'm so glad to.
We wanted to give you the extra bonus prize.